So my name is Nesterov. I'm a full stack developer, most likely. I do JavaScript for the last 15 years. I have some background with PHP, Python. Nowadays, also a big fan of the LLMs. Was working for Heijn for the last 3 years. I'm actually recently resigned Heijn. So now guys, they also present here, Tom and Oleg, they are suffering all my leftovers. So today I want to talk about their dashboards, which have been using at Heijn specifically, and how important it is to actually empower teams with the proper tooling to visualize schemas and what you like, the usage of them. So the first let's start it. So the flexibility and the complexity of the GraphQL. As you know, it's a quite powerful tool, the GraphQL. And within the GraphQL, you have a quite good thing which is called the precise data extraction for your needs. But at the same time, one of their downsides which you're getting is the complexity which teams can observe by working with their schemas. And especially if you have a large scale, then it's getting more and more complicated to maintain the schemas. And one of the questions which developers could face is, can I delete that field? Can I delete the schema? Not the schema, but the query. Because if you don't know what the usage of a specific field or query or mutation, you are scared to delete it. You don't know what's going to happen within the platform at the time, in that case. This is, now we're going to talk about the current landscape of GraphQL at Heijn. So we have 20 plus teams who are owning their modules independently. And the teams, they are in power of their schema governance. And each team clearly sees the overall schema usage in the platform on a big scale. Because it's important to understand how your team contributes to the whole product. One of the things with which we're currently busy is the migration from the legacy GraphQL stitching to the new federation. And this is one of the places where you need to make sure that the teams, they have all their tools which are required for this necessity. In our setup, we have multiple platforms as web, iOS, Android, point of sales, these all small things in Heijn where you do checkout. And all of those devices, they use one big GraphQL schema at the end. So let's go to talk about the importance of observability. This is just an example of their website of Heijn. Yeah, I have it. And as you can imagine, on this page, all of this data is queried from the GraphQL. And just a small chunk of it, of what can be queried, you have here a basket, you have a login, you have a sidebar with different categories, you have products with the price, and behind each of these little thing, there is a GraphQL. Okay. So, as I mentioned before, tracking usage of the GraphQL is one of the crucial things within the platform. And in our case, we use Hive from the guild to help people, to help teams to understand their data usage, what is the traffic goes to one, what is the consumption of the queries of the clients by one client or another one. By client, I mean not only their mobile or web, but also modules. This is, by the way, just a screenshot from their Guild official documentation. One of the key points which we want to make sure that we're gonna change in developers' mindset is the migration from the question, what if it breaks, to we know who uses what. Because if you know who uses what, then you're not scared to actually delete the thing. And the next topic gonna be the tools and the insights. So for tools for schema management, as I mentioned, we use the Hive as a schema registry. And the Hive itself, it also uses ClickHouse. And ClickHouse collects all the data of what's going on within the schema. Like if someone deletes something in case of mutation, or fetch some data, what field, what can their client use it, was it iOS version, I don't know, like 19 or 18, what the specific application version was there. All this information is actually collected and sorted in the ClickHouse. In our case, what we done, we created the dashboards based on the Hive and their ClickHouse. In our case, we have their actionable insight on GraphQL usage and deprecation process. And the visual metrics help teams to stay informed of what's going on within the platform. Beside that, you also see the historical trends, but we're going to talk about it a bit now. So this is one of the examples of one of the dashboards which you help, and it's query usage trends. Basically, what you see here, it's charts based on the ClickHouse data, where we, in this case, in the 30 days time frame, render the usage per each client, like here, for example, or here. We know what kind of version is user's specific field. So you can filter a query or a field in this case to see if you already, if it's safe or not to delete this specific field. And here you also have the numbers of the traffic. So in this case, it's a test environment. So it's also quite handy to know, like, if you have something on TC or on staging or on production. And basically, in 30 days of their graceful period, you can shut it down. This is a sample query to demonstrate how you can actually easily communicate within the ClickHouse. So ClickHouse is a database, basically, and you can use a simple SQL to fetch the data. But besides everything, Hive also provides playground, so you can use queries to actually fetch different data from ClickHouse as well. This is an example of their dashboard, which provides the insights of the usage of different queries and mutations. In this case, we also filter the deprecation. Oh, sorry, I have the wrong slide. No, it's fine. So in there, you can see that we can filter out by the environment what we want to use. We can also filter what kind of clients uses. In this case, it's going to be web, mobile, or all of them. And then the environment, then there, in this case, it's filtered by deprecated fields, but it also can be all the fields or deprecated only on the iOS, deprecated only on the web. And this data, sorry, it's coming from their Hive and from the ClickHouse behind the scenes. Besides everything, we also, you can see the usage report. So we know what kind of amount of executions, for example, fetches was done in the 30 days. You can specify the period of time and what you want to see this. We chose 30 days as a safe kind of zone to delete it, to fetch. Beside that, we also use the sunset date. Sunset date is something what you can set in the queries to make sure that after this period of time, teams gonna be obliged to actually clean up their data. So let's say you have a huge federated scheme, right? And you have a lot of modules there. And at some point you realize that, okay, we need to migrate from A to B, and you also need to make sure that this migration gonna be smooth. By saying migration, I'm talking about the schemas migrations, fields migrations, query migrations, whatever. So by using the GraphQL directives, you can specify the sunset date. And here, like, you can see some of them are red, like, damn it, like this one, which means that the team actually is already above their time. And beside that, you can see the owners, to whom actually belongs this field in this case. What kind of clients uses, and the reason of the deprecation. That's quite cool, because then you know that the team actually entitled this specific field for cleanup, not because they want, like, without no reason, but there's actually something behind it, and there's like another alternative field which you can use it, and so on. Yeah. This is a deprecated fields analysis. It's quite similar to what you just saw, with the exception that in this case it's fully dedicated for the field level, compared to the previous one where it was on the query level. As the outcome from the tools and the insights, it leads us to the safer deprecation, and teams more autonomous since they know what they are doing actually. It also helps to keep the GraphQL schemas clean. Sorry, there is a fly. What was in mind for their future? Like, probably nowadays everyone knows that LLMs, they're quite popular, and AI itself is already like 2 years old. So it's not something what is a train chain. It's something what is already with us for quite a long time in terms of development. 2 years is quite some time. And nowadays you can use some MCP servers. This is an example of WonderGraph. They were one of the first guys who implemented MCP for their ecosystem. But you can do the same on your own. MCP server itself, it's nothing more is just as an API which helps your agent, AI agent, to talk to their, I don't know, in this case to Heijn, for example, or Cosmograph to fetch the data. By having MCP in place, integration, you can empower user developers to also improve their user experience, because they don't need to go to the deprecation dashboard and check something. They can just ask AI, for example, in their Visual Studio, like, hey, what's the usage of this field? Can I delete it? And based on a set of rules, which you can also implement, you're gonna have your answer, like what the number of the usage of a specific field, and so on. So the key takeaways from this talk, I would say that schema observability, it's isn't optional on scale. It's something what teams should have as a tool in their pocket. And the usage insights unlock the safe evolution, like if you want to migrate to the federation, for example, to the federation from the stitching. Yeah, I think that's it from my side. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please, you are welcome.